Hello and welcome into another RedOUT podcast. My name is Devin. I'm shutting the door so that you all can hear me because it's a crazy household today. We'll see if we can get Jared in here in a second, but let's go ahead and get started.
How about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC.
You're listening to the RedOUT podcast.
And let's hear from our sponsor. I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, Betterhelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you were wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/RedOut today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Oh. Thank you all again. Thanks, BetterHelp. If you use our affiliate link, you will give us some support. It'll give you 10% off of BetterHelp services. Abby will be in and out, so please excuse her. How's it going, Jared?
It's good. How are you?
Doing good. Sorry to everyone we missed last week. We were mourning.
For the Queen.
Jared and I both mourned the Queen, but more so the Indiana game because that was crap.
Oh yeah, that too.
more so the Indiana game than the.
I've already tried to forget about it.
Gosh, that was awful. We'll talk more about it later. And honestly, we'll get into it later. But the moral victory went to Western. I'm sorry. I'll take it. We won the moral victory there. But we'll talk more about it in a sec. So winners and losers. I will go ahead and swipe one real quick. Aaron Rodgers' vague Jumbotron. Oh, I saw something on the Jumbotron, and now he's coming out and he's like, oh, there wasn't nothing there. Did you see this, Jared?
It's probably because he's hallucinating from whatever drugs that he's been doing recently.
I didn't think marijuana made you do that, but anyway.
Well, not just weed, but he said he was doing like something else too, like DMT or something. I remember seeing that from somewhere, but I mean, it's technically not a banned substance, so I mean, I don't know.
I have no idea. He looks like a hippie, though.
He is a hippie. What are you talking about?
So it's something else. Does Tua Monteteo, whatever his name is, does he have a concussion?
Well, they originally thought that it was
quarterback. Sorry.
Yeah, they thought it was a concussion at first, but it was actually just reported wrong. It was like a lower back injury, and like his ankle is also kind of banged up too. Like that's what was on the injury report going into the Bengals game tomorrow.
Okay, I laugh because my daughter, it's like Jurassic Park. She can now open doors.
Oh man.
So yeah. My wife is still at work. So my parents are here watching her. So she is randomly, she'll just come in and open the door. So if you hear the door slam, I apologize ahead of time, but I can't really stop her. But anyway,
at least you know you can't.
yes, I've given up on that front. And she's not even a teenager yet, so congratulations. So do you have any winners or losers?
Well, I mean, my winner is very obvious. Obviously, the Dolphins. For the first time in my life, I have seen one of the NFL power ranking things have the Dolphins as the top team in the NFL. I have never seen that before in 29 years of being alive. I have not seen that.
Hey, I'm happy for you, buddy.
It's been long overdue.
Hey, I'm happy for you.
I'm scared though
non-Dolphins fan,
because
I'm happy.
Tua and also Jalen Waddle are both a little banged up from the game because they laid it all on the line for the Bills. That was a very close game. Still was able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Incredible. They all played really hard, but they're all kind of banged up and have this Thursday night game against Cincinnati at Cincinnati. So I think that'll still be kind of tough, even though the Bengals didn't look as good as they did last year. But I mean, if they're kind of banged up, then it'll make things a little harder. But who would have predicted the Dolphins and the Eagles being the two only undefeated teams left by week 3 or 4? No one.
Nobody.
No one.
No one would have. It's. I'm happy for the Dolphins.
And here's a good trivia question.
Go ahead.
Here's a good trivia question for you. What else is significant about the Dolphins and the Eagles? Thinking of those two teams.
I have no idea.
If you're a big movie lover,
idea.
You might know them. In Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, when they kidnap Dan Marino, the Super Bowl is the Dolphins and the Eagles. And Ace Ventura beats up the Eagles mascot at the end of the movie. Yeah. You can rewatch it.
That is hilarious. I did not know that's where we were going with that.
Yep. That's where we're going.
So let's see. I've got some random other news. Men's golf played at Western Carolina. Hoffman shot in the red on his final day of the JT Postman. Women's soccer lost 1-0 to North Texas. We've got FIU. Obviously, we football won. Spoiler alert, in case you didn't know. And women's volleyball beat Middle Tennessee. Oh, and by the way, I have another loser. Miami. And I'm not talking football, NFL. I'm talking college.
Oh, my God. Losing to MTSU.
Yes. You bunch of idiots. Good gosh.
But here's the thing. I don't know if you saw that, but one of the Miami players in the post-game interview literally said, like, we completely overlooked MTSU. We thought we would win this game.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even think twice about them. That's why they lost.
Yeah, that's...
Which that's coaching. That's not just on the players. That's coaching.
Yeah, and I agree. And Miami is not the 90s Miami. They're not a team that can just overlook people,
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't do that. Sorry, I'm just making some quick notes here for the show.
Yeah, Frank Gore is not walking through that door anytime soon.
No, yeah, seriously, like even when Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, played at Miami, like that was Miami,
Mm-hmm.
But Miami's almost like one of those teams like Nebraska, the teams that were the woulda, shoulda, coulda teams, but they aren't, they're not the teams they were. That's just my thing is they're not the teams they were. They're not rocking their conferences or anything. They're, barely holding their heads up.
Yeah.
And, it's just not something to feel great about.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. And my thing is too is they're ranked 25th. Like, is that a new rivalry now? MTSU and Miami.
Honestly, out of every rival that exists, I think that would make absolutely no sense. But I would be there for it. I would support it.
I would too. I think that'd be really funny. A very random rivalry.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess let's just jump right into it. Did you watch the Indiana game?
Indiana game. No, I did not get to see it.
Okay, I did watch it, and like, I talked to one of the former alumni on Facebook, Dean, and Dean and I kind of agree. You could just watch the sails, watch the energy come out of them. You just watch. It looks like the wind got knocked out of their sails. Is the phrase I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And we were up. That's the bad thing. And then you could see there's almost a point in the game where you can watch the guys go from enjoying playing to, hey, we're winning. You got a little pep in your step. You got that spring when you walk. There's that moment, and then Indiana had a couple good plays, and then it's let's not lose this game. They're playing to not lose, and you can't do that. You can't play to not lose. You have to play to win. You got to just keep the gas going. And this is, and I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times, and I even said it last episode. This is going to be one of those games we're going to want back if we lose, and we're definitely going to want this back, just like the year before.
Yeah, every time we play Indiana, it usually ends like that.
For those of you on YouTube, I've got the stats pulled up for you. You can check those out. For those of you not, I'll go ahead and read them. WKU had 25 first downs. Indiana had 28, so pretty close. We had 545 total yards. They had 480. 329 of ours were passing, 216 rushing. They had 364 passing, 120 rushing. So total yards, we're still on top. We had 8 penalties for 83 yards. And I'm going to say, for me, the penalties came at the most inopportune times.
Yeah,
pass interference here, this happened there, and there were a couple drives that were kept alive because of these penalties. You can't let that happen. You've got to play smart, and when you're playing a team like Indiana, they've very lucratively probably paid the refs off. So just going to throw that out there. No, but seriously, like when you're in a crowd, when you're in a stadium like that, it's subconscious, but the refs are going to side more with Indiana. It's going to happen.
In my opinion, no. Well, I mean, while there was some of that, the thing that killed us was that interception in the red zone, and also the special teams errors with the field goals, having one blocked and then missing the other one. Like, if you take any of those 3 things and reverse it, then we win this game.
Yes, and if we hadn't got our field goal blocked, and yes, but psychologically, refs are going to be more apt to side with them than us. Just saying. Going to throw it out there. Unpopular opinion.
I mean, it is true.
Unpopular opinion, but it's an opinion. And we had 2 turnovers. They had 1 turnover. We missed the final field goal. Of course, I'm watching this game, and it didn't connect to me on them. First off, when I think Austin Reed just did like a quick little sneak. He literally just like took the ball from the right hash. They snapped. He took it, went to like tight end where the tight end lines up, and then just fell down. And I was like, in my mind, I thought, what in the hell is he doing? And then I thought, duh, field goal. Duh. It didn't connect right away, but because it just looked so it looked so pathetic. Sorry, Austin Reed, but it was pretty funny. But it made sense from a coaching point of view that they wanted to get it lined up straight, and then I felt for the kicker.
Yeah,
that's one of those things that it's easy to quote, it's easy to kick field goals when you're up and you don't have to worry about that, and then the pressure kicks in and you're just like, oh, this sucks.
Maybe they accidentally gave him a regular ball instead of a K ball.
Hey, I always said the laces out, man. Jesus, what's wrong with you people?
Have they not seen Ace Ventura? We all know.
I was very disappointed in that loss. I mean, I'm sure the guys were too. I stand behind that. We will want that game back when towards the end of the season. If we could switch the Auburn Indiana games, I believe we would thump them like a little brother. We just beat the far out of them.
Also, Austin Reed reminds me of Zappy for the fact that he doesn't throw that many interceptions, but any interception that he does throw is like the most costly and worst timed interception imaginable.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Like the ones that Zappy had against UTSA in both games last season is what absolutely destroyed us for the most part.
Yes, I do agree. And I was trying to think of it earlier. What was the third game that we really wanted back last year? Indiana was one. Army was another one. What was the third one?
I don't think it was. We played Michigan State well, but they were still nationally ranked. I don't think we would have gotten that one regardless. So
no, maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm about half crazy anyway, as you all probably know.
I'm fully crazy at this point.
Oh yeah, both. Yeah, definitely. You have to be to work at Starbucks. Yeah. So
I can confirm that. You have to have at least one mental illness.
But so final thoughts on Indiana. We'll move over to FIU. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just one we're going to regret by the end of the season. I mean, if we make a field goal or maybe throw an touchdown instead of an interception on that one drive, then we're 4-0 right now.
Yeah, my poor daughter was hearing
And
reports.
3-1 is not bad at all.
No,
It's
no,
not.
not at all.
But beating a Big Ten school is still something we haven't done, and I feel like we're cursed against the Big Ten.
Yes, and I completely think that do we still have another home game with Indiana next year? Or
I don't know if this is the end of the series or not. I'll have to look. I mean, I know Ross was the one that always would check in like future schedules and stuff. I know we play Ohio State next year in Columbus, so that'll be great.
Okay, so since it is another Big Ten school, I'm going to throw out there that we need to find a virgin, and it doesn't have to be, gender doesn't matter. It could be some dork, some nerd. I don't care. And sacrifice them on the 50-yard line at Buckeye Stadium before, and just go ahead and just get that bad juju of Big Ten football out of the way.
We need to take whatever Marshall ate before they beat Notre Dame this season and eat that.
Yes. Completely agree. So the game that we really want to talk about, FIU, that was a fun game.
Was it though? It's like watching a train wreck.
Honestly, no, it's like beating a dead horse is what it was after a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched the first, second, and fourth quarters. I didn't even watch the third quarter. I literally went outside and played with my child.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was, we were to that point where it's like, they're not coming back from this.
You could say that at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, that was... Well, at the end of the first, they were deflated, but they weren't quite beat yet. I've got some stats pulled up for you all on YouTube. WKU had 32 first downs. That is freaking wild. FIU had 10 first downs the entire game. Western had 690 total yards. 478 yards were passing, 210 rushing, which, by the way, 200 yards rushing in a game like that is great. Definitely, I love it anytime our running backs get over 100 yards rushing. And it looks like Robichaux for the year has 265 yards total. So out of 4 games, he's got 265. I'd like to see that number higher, but, so be it. We only had 4 penalties. Go ahead.
I have a conspiracy. Here's my question. Are we sure that the FIU team that we played is not just Bishop Sycamore, but in Panther jerseys? Are we sure that we played the real FIU team?
We'll never know. We'll just never know. I will say, maybe this is just maybe an unpopular opinion. I don't like FIU's jerseys.
Yeah.
The Panther on the sleeve is just dumb to me.
Also, they're the Golden Panthers, but the main color scheme they use is like navy.
Yeah, so, navy and white. Like, where's the gold?
It's like, where's the gold? Look at the Golden Hurricanes. They have like the gold chrome helmets, and those look sick.
Yes, like some of those are pretty cool. But yeah, you have no gold on it's a navy and white, and you're the Golden Panthers. But I don't control that.
It wouldn't make a single difference anyways for them.
No,
so.
No, it wasn't going to help them score. Currently, sorry, I've got Troy pulled up in front of me. Let me get back to FIU. We had 4 penalties for 25 yards, so pretty good. And we had 1 turnover, which was an interception. FIU had 185 yards, 124 passing, 61 rushing. I would have loved to have seen, and I'm not knocking anybody, but if we could have kept them under 100 yards passing, that would have been wild.
I wanted us to get to 90 points. That way we can say we had a real life tops by 90s moment.
I know, right? That would have been wild. That would have been wild.
The memes would have been incredible.
FIU had 7 penalties, which isn't bad. 2 turnovers, and one stat that I read today, which if you're not, you need to get on the Towel Rack. There are little mailing lists on Substack, or even just read it on Substack. Matt's stats for the FIU game. FIU never made it past our 40-yard line. That's a wild stat. That is a crazy stat, though.
Are we sure this is a FBS team? Are we sure?
I agree. This could be like St. Mary's or something for all I know.
St. Vincent, St. Mary's, where LeBron
yeah.
went to high school.
Bellarmine, whatever. Whoever, whatever. But I mean, this is it. That was a wild game, and I feel like this is one of those that, you got beat by Indiana, and it's just like, who's next on the schedule? They're going to get creamed, and that's what happened basically.
Yep.
So
and I think it's funny though. Do you know what a crazy stat is? I think this is right, but
okay.
The last shutout we had in football was in 2013.
Okay.
That's absurd to me, thinking of how good we've been since 2013, that we haven't shut out a single opponent since then.
I thought you were saying we got shut out.
No, like we haven't shut somebody out, like where they have a big old freaking goose egg. Since
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Well, I mean, that says something about your defense. Or
I mean, we did have that game against Marshall that was like 60-6, but I mean, they did still score. We didn't shut them out. I mean, we had games like that where they had like very low amount of points, but that's good for our defense to be able to see them shut anybody out, even as terrible as FIU is. I mean, being able to see a shutout and also rack up 73 points while you're doing it, I think that's about one of the best games that our team could have had right now.
And I mean, is FIU really that bad though?
Yes.
Well, yeah, they are. They really are. But it was nice to have Western to be able to just have somebody to thump around.
The fact that they beat Bryant in overtime is a miracle looking back on it now. I don't know what Bryant did in that game, but they should have won. I don't care what happened, but they should have won that game.
Okay, so just for giggles, they beat Bryant 38-37. They lost to Texas State 41-12. They lost to us 73-0. They're playing New Mexico State this weekend. They play UConn next weekend.
Nice.
UTSA's after that. Charlotte, Louisiana Tech, North Texas, FAU, UTEP, and MTSU is the last game for them. How much do you think UConn or UTSA is going to throw on them? Or maybe even North Texas? I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the top team coming out of the West, but
I don't know, but that'll be kind of a good gauge for us to see how some of the other Western team opponent looks. If UTSA drops 70 and shuts out FIU again, then I will definitely be concerned. But if FIU somehow looks really good against them, maybe that could be in our favor a little bit. I don't know.
So did Conference USA really kind of get rid of the West?
Well, they technically don't have the divisions anymore, is what I've heard.
Because there's not enough teams to have a division.
Honestly, after this year, after everyone goes to the American, then yeah, we're not going to have enough teams to have divisions.
No.
Probably.
Yeah, I just noticed on ESPN's little kind of their overview page for teams. It's like it's got the conference, excuse me. And normally it was like East, West. No, there's all 14 teams in there. 13 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 teams. That's even worse. Cool. And actually, kind of a state of Conference USA, Charlotte is 1-4, and La Tech is 1-3. Cool. So, just throwing that at you.
I just feel really bad for FIU.
I do too, but I don't care.
If that's what we have to sacrifice for the Dolphins to be the best team in Miami is the Hurricanes and the Golden Panthers, then bye. Adios.
Yeah,
Thanks for your sacrifice.
Sorry. Tough luck. Any chance the Chrome Domes come back this year?
Well, there's officially a statement on that. Did you see it?
No, I may have missed it.
Yeah, you missed it because people have been asking where the Chrome Domes are, and I think that they said that there's been a supply chain issue, and they've been having to reuse the other ones, and they're trying to refurbish all of the Chrome Domes that they did have, and they just haven't been able to get everything ready for whatever reason. I can find the full statement if you give me like 5 minutes.
I think I remember someone saying that. Yeah, go ahead and I'll look up.
I'm scrolling.
I'll do
Oh,
that.
here it is. All right, it's from the equipment room, WKU equipment on Twitter. It says the chrome helmets are still an important component of our uniform combination. We have not worn them yet this season because of supply chain delays and getting them refurbished following last season. We hope to be able to wear them again soon.
Cool.
It's the official statement from the equipment techs.
So there you go. That's your. Okay, so I think that we are very lacking. We need a red helmet too.
That's
saying
too much like Louisville. That's too much like Louisville at that point.
Well, we've got white, we've got black, we've got chrome. I mean, I feel like red's just another option in the book, and I mean, we're technically supposed to be red and white, not black. So
True, but they need to wear the black helmets with the all black uniforms because they didn't do that against Austin Peay. I did the red pants, I think, and the black uniforms or something, or vice versa. But it wasn't a complete blackout. I want to see the complete blackout uniforms at some point.
that would be pretty sweet. Per Jake's stat that he always liked to mention, it never fares well though.
We would probably be penalized more according to his statistics.
Yes. Yes, we would be penalized a lot more according to Jake's stats, but we'll see. Let me get back into my. There we go. So let's go ahead. Final thoughts on FIU. It was great to see Western thump somebody like that.
I know of people that went to the game and they said that they were bored just because of the fact of how dominant we were.
I mean, but that's good. Like, you want that. You need that opponent to basically just let the coaches just go through the playbook. You know.
Yeah, but for attendance though, I feel like it's kind of rough.
Well, I mean, attendance has been a slump too. That's been an issue for Western. Attendance has always been an issue for Western because Bowling Green is a city where there's a lot to do, granted, but
is there though?
Well, there's a lot of restaurants. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
But they're fair weather fans. Mm-hmm. You get I'm a UK fan. Well, I'm a Louisville fan. Well,
it's more of that than it is fair weather to me because even in the best seasons that we had under Braum, we still weren't selling out games.
No. And honestly, like, we were talking in our group chat about this, and I think that if we took tickets, and they didn't even got to be like great tickets, just have like, nosebleeds for these kids, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, some of those programs like that, Boy Scout night or something, and just give away tickets. If you're a Boy Scout, then come in your uniform or something. I don't know.
We did break the record last year, though. Do you remember that against Indiana? I was at that game.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah, that looked great. I was at that game, and I was also at the Vanderbilt game in 2016, and both of those were very, very well attended. But that's the thing, though. I mean, it's only the thing that it sucks is that people's not just going to show up to some conference matchup for Conference USA. Even like when we play Marshall or Middle, I mean, we need them to, but they just don't. It has to be the big name opponents because Indiana, their Big Ten school, sold that out almost. Then, of course, Vanderbilt, regionally close opponent, SEC team still sold that out basically. So that's the only real way that I feel like we can get sellouts consistently is just by having some type of Power 5 school come to the house.
Hi, baby. Dad? Yes, baby. Can you say hi, everybody? Can you say hi?
Hi, Abby.
Can you say hi, Jared?
Hi. Hello. We need her analysis on WKU's football attendance.
She just kicked my mom out, her grandma.
Nice.
But I think as far as fans go, Western's always had a problem with that. We had when I was in middle school, like I remember one of our coaches at the end of our season would always buy tickets to a Western game. And I think that would be another. You want to get these kids young to come to Western. So, you want them to, whether it's like you have middle school football player night, you have little league players, get these kids to come and start cheering for Western, and it's going to help you out. Have the kids bring their uniforms, have, free tickets for mom or dad and one kid, you will recoup this money eventually. It's better than having empty seats, in my opinion.
See, I mean, I remember when we first were FBS and everything, you could probably put a WKU football ticket on somebody's windshield. And
Yeah.
or what the joke is, like, come back with 2 more.
Yes, and I mean you're not wrong. I think at one point in Taggart's tenure, there was like dollar hot dog night and dollar season ticket night or something. I don't even remember. It was like crazy stuff. Hi, baby. We are getting dangerous.
Sounds like it.
Hey, Abby. No. Go play with Grandma for a few minutes. You can come back in here in a little bit. But anyway, I think tickets. You need people to come out, whether they're paying or not. You need people to stay. You need them to stay past the first or second quarter. But anyway, let's talk about Troy. So, this is going to be a very interesting game. I feel like. So is Doge still at whatever? Dogie, Diggy. Is he still? Did he go? He went to Troy, right?
Yeah, but he's still not the starter over there either.
I see that. Gunnar Watson is. So I'm going to have to rethink the name of my episode because I had the perfect name. Ready for this?
Was it Teach Me How to Diggy?
No, it was Betrayal. Like betrayal, but it was betrayal. So now I got to. I'm sticking with it. I still like it.
Might as well. I think people will get it.
At least the dad joke in me feels better. So Western is actually favored in this game. I am glad we're playing at home. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I hated going to Troy when we played Troy because Troy would always do that. And the pass falls incomplete. I hated that. Oh my gosh, worst thing ever.
That is annoying.
Some
people would say the same thing though about and that's enough for a heel topper first down. I mean, people would probably say the same thing about that, especially against FIU because we did it 32 times.
That was that's. I'm sure FIU's like, Jesus, if I have to hear another Hilltopper first down, I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah.
Western, of course, this is inflated, so this is what kills me when you do previews for this. Western's points per game is 47.5 to Troy's 23. That FIU game has got us so inflated on that number, it's ridiculous.
That's what we want.
But Vegas has given us 5. Which, that's not too bad. I could see that. Troy's beaten some decent opponents this year.
And they almost beat App State the day that they hosted College Game Day in front of like a sold-out arena. So
32-28 on that game.
And it came down to Hail Mary, basically.
And Troy beat Marshall 16-7.
Which, of course, Marshall beat Notre Dame. So, I mean...
Yes. And so... Of course, that makes me wonder if Notre Dame's actually that good or not, but
no.
Looks like the numbers are 30-24.5. Giving Western 5. The money line's 210. I'll try and put this on our YouTube page so you can, or not the page, but the picture on the video. Excuse me, I'm getting all tongue tied over here. I think it's going to be a good game. It's 7:00 Eastern on Saturday the 1st on ESPN Plus. If you can't watch it, check it out on. I'm sure IMG Sports Network is going to have it with Randy Lee. And honestly, this is going to sound bad, and I don't really care. I would rather have Randy Lee's radio show over the people they get on ESPN Plus. Just saying.
Honestly, yeah.
And I don't want an announcer crew to be biased, but Randy Lee is more invested in Western and it makes it more fun. Just saying.
True, yeah.
Because you get these announcers and they'll be like, Austin Reed, he's a cowboy, all right, or something goofy like that, and you're just like, what is this? What am I watching? What am I listening to? Western, the weather's supposed to be awesome, 70 degrees, game time. hopefully we can get a good Saturday crowd, for the whole game against Troy, because this is going to be a big game. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Also, for the fair weather fans out there, the weather has in fact been incredible. It's like 70 degrees is the high
This
and
is
like
fall.
40s for the low. I mean, it is beautiful. We actually have fall weather. We'll see how long it lasts before it turns blistering hot or freezing cold again, but it's fine.
Yes, like this is wild to me that like somebody I saw a meme on Facebook, and it was completely true that Summer clocked out like it was his job. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's done. I was like, that's true. Like the summer weather is just out of here. Um, of course, ESPN's intern has given us 82% chance to win on Saturday.
That's very generous. That
You
is
think so?
very generous. Yes, because
That's
Troy is a lot better than I think that they're giving them credit for. Because their defense is pretty solid, and that's what concerns me. Is we have a really good offense, they have a really good defense. It's kind of like a strength versus strength kind of thing that
yeah.
we'll have this weekend. And a lot of the Troy people seem very confident in their defense. And the person we had on our Q&A for this week actually predicted Troy to win. So we'll see
Oh,
about
really?
that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I will say defensively, of course, we're skewed still. Troy has allowed 354 yards where we've allowed 337. Uh,
The biggest
so
thing these Troy people have to realize, though, is that this isn't no Sun Belt era WKU team you're playing against anymore. This is like the creme de la creme Hilltopper
this,
offense.
we have 20 transfers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is Topper 2.0 right here.
Mm-hmm.
These are not like I agree. This is not a Sunbelt team that you're looking at where Troy dominated us and they went back to their trailers and went to bed. Um, this is definitely a Hilltopper team that's going to come play. And I just hope my thing is in the Indiana game, I'm hoping that they pulled away from this and saw you when things get hard in games, you just don't give up, and that's what happened in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that after this FIU game, they got a block, the chip on their shoulder. They're, if Troy comes up, it's not a well. Here goes again, guys. I guess we'll just wait till the clock runs out. It's like, all right, they're at our house. Let's get this going. You ain't coming into our house and going to just pop us in the mouth without us saying something back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I this is I think that 82% is very generous. I would say it's probably around 70%. What do you think?
I think it's more closer to maybe 65 to 70%.
Okay, okay. Um, and honestly, to say that Western would beat Troy 8 out of 10 times is it's a big ask in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right at 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 for Western is possible. We'll just see.
Had they beaten Troy, I think they would probably be favored in this game. I mean,
Do
had they beaten App State, sorry. Had that
yes.
backwards. Yeah. Had they not lost to them, yeah.
That words are difficult. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Um, I will say they look like a pass heavy team, kind of like us. Troy has averaged 66 yards this year per game. I'm assuming that's well, actually, no. I'm sorry. That's total yards. They've only got 66. That can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
That
needs to
sounds
fix
off.
their numbers because they've got one of their rushing leaders for Troy's name's Billingsley. He's got 27 carries for 162 yards with a touchdown. So that's not right. And they must be averaging 66 yards a game, which that sounds more correct out of 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very pass heavy. So our DB's got to bring their A game. No dumb pass interference calls,
Mm-hmm.
when we don't need it. Um, and it looks like Western is, like I said, is leading the yards allowed. But Troy is looking pretty slick when it comes to rushing yards, 145 and 209 yards allowed. As far as passing for 209. So, I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. Their quarterback so far has thrown for 1,249 yards, 5 TDs, 5 interceptions, where Austin Reed is thrown for 1,263, 14 TDs, and 3 interceptions. So Austin Reed's looking like the better option at quarterback this so far. If you're looking on sheet, paper versus paper.
That's
What are your
because he
thoughts?
chose to go to quarterback university.
That's a good point. So to kind of get a little derailed here, what are you thinking as far as the Georgia Tech job? I don't know if some Western fans are worried about this or not, but some people are worried that Helton may be, if he keeps doing well, he may be a front runner for the Georgia Tech job. What do you think?
I don't see that happening. There's plenty of other flashy names that would probably be a better fit for Georgia Tech than Hilton. And also, they have to hire someone that runs the freaking old school, like Army Navy style offense, like the military style offense, because that's what Georgia Tech used to do, and they got away from it, and now they
The
suck. So
option?
go figure. Yes.
Yes, they need to go back to the option. But like my thing is with that specifically, like you've got one of the names was thrown around was Deion Sanders. I could totally see Deion going to a school like that. Now, would you get the option? No, but the name for Georgia Tech would help so much with Deion Sanders.
It
Is
would
my
be a complete rebrand for what Georgia Tech has always been. Like they would completely change every single aspect about that football program if they hired someone like that.
well, maybe that's what they need.
Yeah, maybe. It depends. All the old school alumni probably wouldn't want that. Just
No,
because they're like, oh, we need to have our run option and that's it. We don't throw the ball except maybe once every 2 games. So that's
yeah,
why it
that
wouldn't make sense for Hilton to go there either. He's a pass-heavy quarterback. So, well, quarterback coach especially. I mean, looking at all the quarterbacks he's had outside of Pigram.
hey, yeah. But I was gonna say that you've got the one, and I don't blame Piggy so much in that with that because he wasn't the style that Helton needed. I think in any other system, Piggy may have been okay, but Piggy was a run gun quarterback. In that order, he wasn't, and he's not. He wasn't the deep throw. He wasn't. Um, he's not a Zappy. And or a Brandon Doughty or any of those kind of style quarterbacks. He's a Robert Griffin III. He's a Cam Newton, which Cam's pretty good at gunning too, actually. But you know, that was Piggy's thing is he's not and that's and I may get these guys confused, so excuse me if I do, but was it Ocean? Ocean
Darius
kind of
Ocean.
reminds me of like Piggy
Mm-hmm.
because Ocean he looks like a quick kid, and that was a good thing to see at the FIU game was to be able to see him kind of open it up. And I did notice that was it Ocean went in first, I think, right? Or did you see that?
Yeah, it was Ocean, and then Veltkamp came in at
Then
the very,
Velkamp.
very end.
I think Ocean kind of got his feet a little bit towards the end of his time in there, and I mean he made a couple little mistakes, but you're up, 80 billion points to nothing. Does it really matter? But Velkamp I thought looked pretty good. I think Velkamp is the style of quarterback that Helton's going to want, but I'll leave that to time and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll
Ocean
see.
may transfer, Velkamp may transfer before they actually get to the QB1 status. So
Yeah, because Reed still will technically have another year after this season, so that will depict a lot. And I mean, I'd hate for him to transfer too again after he
I
does
would,
really well here. Because I mean, if Zappy had 2 years of eligibility, do you think he would have stayed?
yes, yeah. Well, I don't know because Zappy. I mean, when you have a season like Zappy had, where you're breaking records, I don't know how you can stay. Honestly, I hate to sound like that, but I don't know how you can stay.
I feel like he would have followed Kitley to Texas Tech pretty easily.
Yeah, he could have, but wouldn't that have screwed his eligibility up though, or would COVID have covered it?
Some COVID would have covered it. I mean, it's all hypothetical, anyways. It didn't happen, so I mean, it's not like it really matters. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just something that we do have to think of moving forward for next year. Is that Reed can probably go somewhere else if he wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely could. And I mean, if he does, so be it.
Next man
I
up.
just wish all the best for him. Uh, it sounds bad, but I'm almost coming to terms with Western. Just kind of be the revolving door of quarterbacks.
I mean, it's been like that for a while.
Yeah, I mean, since Helton's been here, essentially,
hmm
because we had oh my gosh, what was his name? Steve. I cannot think of it.
Duncan, Stephen
Duncan.
Duncan.
Yes, I knew it was a D. Yes, Duncan. We had Duncan. We had the next year. We had Piggy was next, right?
No, Ty Story and then Piggy, wasn't it?
High Story, then Piggy, and then we went to Zappy, and then we're here.
It's crazy.
Who? Okay, hypothetically, we're getting off the rails, but we got time. Hypothetically, what jobs does Helton leave for?
Um,
In your opinion,
maybe I don't see it being a Power Five job. Honestly, I don't see him going from WKU to a Power Five job unless it's something like a really terrible team that is always a bottom dweller, like Vanderbilt or something like that. I don't really see it being a very high profile job, at least if we do really good this season. Um, even with the resume that he has, I still don't see him getting a big job or anything like that. Maybe American League or something, like a high level American school or something like that, like Memphis or something like that. I don't know. Maybe something of that caliber, but not big Power Five or anything.
so if Florida State or Central Florida called, do you think he'd go, or South Florida?
Honestly, I think Central Florida is too big for him too. Maybe
Oh,
South
you
Florida.
do.
I think South. I think he would have to have a progression like Taggart, where he has to go to like a school like South Florida, and if he does well there, then maybe get a Power Five job. Maybe.
So is it? So it's possible for him to have 3 jobs in 1 year, is what I just heard.
I mean, never say never. Willie did the impossible.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, just looking at his wiki page, he was born in Gainesville, Florida. He's actually about 10 years older than I am. He was born in 1977. Um, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, I understand why Taggart left. Um, so I can, moving closer to Florida, back to where he's from, I can understand that. Um, and I mean, more money. With Helton, I don't know. I would assume he would want, and she's escaped again. Hi, baby. So, yeah, baby. Um, I would assume like a lower mid major would definitely be in his future. Eventually, I don't know how long we're going to be able to hold on to Helton. I hope we can for a while, but hopefully we don't get a Sanford on the next draw. We get another Helton. Somebody who can step into the job and be successful right away.
If MTSU can keep Rick Stockstill for whatever reasons that they've held on to that man, I'm hoping we can keep Helton for a while. I
Well,
mean,
we
at least
either
if we're bowl eligible every season and look pretty solid, have a really good quarterback, and have a strong offense, I think that we can hold on to him for a little bit. But
I think we either need good blackmail material, or um,
it's
or we're
terrible.
gonna need or we're gonna need a contract and him to have a really bad several years before we can lock him in like Stockstill.
But
But
that's the thing, though. He's so mellow. He's not a very fiery guy. He's not very energetic or very vocal for the most part. I mean, he gets upset after some calls. I've definitely seen that before where he got pretty heated, but usually he's
I
very
don't blame
level
him.
headed. Yeah, I mean, he's very level headed, very chill for the most part. Just the vibe that I've got from meeting him and also just seeing him coach thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I like Hilton. I really do. I was apprehensive after Sanford, just like everybody else, but the first few games there, you're seeing promise. You're seeing guys making smart football plays, and then the other part of this is you're seeing smart coaching plays. And that's the big thing is you need to see in a coach. You don't want to see the fourth down on your own 20. there are situations where you have to do certain things, even if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to put your defense in that situation on the 20-yard line. That's a horrible decision. Um, and there may be decisions that Helton makes that you kind of go, but at the same time, you're looking at it as, well, is this the smart play here? Or is this, it's kind of a 50-50 draw, and he makes for the most part, he's made the right decisions. And I
Yeah.
can't complain. It's, he's doing the recruiting too.
Yeah, I mean,
He's bringing in. Go
he's
ahead.
not as conservative as Sanford was with his play calling at times, but he's just overall like smarter. Like he'll take some risks and do some stuff, but like it's at the same time, I mean, a lot of the risks that he takes aren't super crazy. Like usually we haven't had many games where we're like, oh, why in the world did he do that? Because even during Brom we had that. Like the game we had at home against Vanderbilt, going for the 2-point conversion in double overtime instead of trying to kick a field goal. I feel
Yeah.
like if we had gone maybe one more, we would have got that win in front of a sold out crowd. But I mean, like I remember a lot of people questioning Brom's decision for that. So I mean, it just shows. I mean, every coach has moments. So I mean, and Hilton hasn't had too
Well,
many either.
no, you're right. But what I was thinking, like you're talking about that with Brom, a lot of coaches, instead of going for the field goal, and they've made the rule change on that too. Now, not then, but a lot of the time back then, they, it's just one of those. It's like, well, let's just go ahead and end it now. Let's try and end this now instead of, just kind of letting it draw out into another overtime. And it's it's whatever. Of course, that's in the past now, but what are you going to do?
It's like the Lion King.
Yeah, it's in the past. Yeah. So, a quick aside: we've got a couple minutes here before the show's over, but my daughter has these, like, they call them 5-minute reads, and it's just a conglomerate of stories. There's these Disney stories, and my favorite one is Pinocchio, and I always try to do voices when I do it. When I read as Geppetto, I read like Mario. So I do it a voice like a this, and come on, a Pinocchio. My wife's like, that is awful. That is so awful, and I'm like, it's hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about. This is great. Um, but I always try to do the voices when I read books to her because I think it's great, and it entertains me because I probably read that Geppetto story like 80 times right by now. But anyway, so predictions. I'm going to stick to the prediction that I put in the Taurax future article. Jared, what's your prediction for this game, points
Yeah,
wise?
so I actually got to do a little guest segment on the Group of Five Focus podcast. I recorded that on Monday. It's out now. Where like they got see me and the Trojan Wall, like both like the Talrak and us, well us and them, like the Trojan Wall. We're gonna be interacting with each other a lot. We've had a lot of people ask us questions on both sides. Very interactive. They're super awesome. They're basically the closest thing to the Talrak I've seen as far as like independent sites go for the most part.
Cool,
And
cool, cool.
but I got to do this podcast interview thing. Well, it wasn't really an interview. I had to just record answering a few questions that he had. And in my prediction in it, like I'm buying into the hype of Troy's defense a lot. Like I'm trusting these Troy people a little bit that they can hold their own and maybe slow us down a little bit. I think it's enough to make us kind of frustrated on offense, but not like completely cripple us to the point that we can't get anything going. I don't see it being as high scoring of a game as most of the games this season have gone because of that. I think it's a close game. I think it's a little bit more laid back offensive wise. I have us winning 28-21.
Okay, that's it's not too bad. I like the lowing score because that's what I'm saying too. But I'm going to say that Western's going to get 32-24. I
That's
think
still
it's
pretty close.
and it's within 8 points. I think that's possible. I think Western is going to go on the over. Would I put money on that? No, but I will say that I think that Western would is going to get more than 5 points. So
Yeah.
I think that's a definite possibility. Um, Well, that's weird. Sorry, one of my things I just typed up on our predictions has got a shadow. I don't know why it's got a shadow. But anyway, I'll fix that in post. Anyway, I think that's possible. I think your score is very possible. It's within one score. I think that's very credible for Western. I think Reed is a smart quarterback, though. I think he's it's just. I think there are ways to trip him up. I think we can. I think Troy may be able to do that. I don't trust them, but as far as their defense goes, but we'll see. I mean, they almost beat App State, who's historically a big David and Goliath school. They're pretty good at historically being able to upset people.
Even just
So
looking
we'll
at
see.
them right now, they're pretty good. I mean, beating Texas A&M to start the season and then hosting College Game Day the next week, and that's when they played Troy, was for College Game Day. And Troy almost won that game. Had they won that game, I feel like we would all be saying this is going to be closer than what we're predicting, which is why I'm going a little more conservative with my prediction choice.
And that's fine. You are actually, I think you're undefeated on predictions so far, aren't you?
I
'Cause
am. Me, Fletcher, and Matt are the only undefeated ones left.
Hey, I'm always going to pick the tops, so I'll lose. I'll lose. That's fine. Now, if you start putting some money down, then I might change my predictions. But until then,
So you'd predict us to beat Bama if we were playing them?
Yeah, we'll have the moral victory there. I think. Well, I don't know. It depends on it depends on which Bama we're playing. If it's
Bama.
if it's the historical really good Bama, that's fine. If it's the hungover Bama, then we'll see. But anyway, so coming to the end of the show here, we're going to check. I'm just going to mention really quickly the Patreon. If you like what you're listening to, if you made it this far in the episode, we appreciate your support. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. If you can do that, that's free, but it helps us out. It helps our algorithm, so it kicks us up a notch. If you're listening on other platforms, share the episode, like the episode, review us on iTunes. It just kind of boosts us up there, and it just helps us out. If you'd like to, you can help us out. For the the cost, it's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Okay, just throwing it out there.
Cup
You
of
can
coffee at
support us.
Starbucks is close to $10 now, probably.
Exactly. And if you wanted to help us out, and this is just once a month. The lowest one is $3. So if you want to help us out, $3 a month. That's not a huge ask. It'll help keep the lights on here. It'll help feed Jared every now and then.
You can sacrifice one venti caramel ribbon crunch frappuccino for RedOUT podcast. Just one.
Or
month.
or a pumpkin spice latte. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
people. Save a pumpkin, support the podcast.
I love it.
But anyway, definitely, we appreciate your support. We appreciate our listeners. And there are different tiers for joining the Patreon. But we will be doing group talk during games. If you hear something, or you got a question about something, and you're a member of the Patreon, you ask it. We'll answer. I'm not saying it at any time of night, but we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Maybe we hear something, maybe we don't hear something, maybe you hear something. We can just kind of talk and voice our opinions in a very courteous and respectful manner, of course. But yeah, we appreciate your support. If you'd like to, we appreciate it. If you don't, that's fine too. But we appreciate you making it this far in the episode. Western will be playing Troy this Saturday on the 1st. The game, you can watch it on ESPN Plus. If you can't watch it at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. If you can't watch it in person, I'm sure, or you can't watch it on ESPN Plus, I'm sure you can watch it on YouTube. You can check it on Hilltop Revolt. I'm sure they'll have it up later on. If not, you can definitely check back with us next week. We'll be talking about the podcast, or talking about it on the podcast. And then we'll be hollering at you next week, bar any kind of crazy emergencies. And check out the Chow Rack. They're going to have articles coming out. They do live tweets during the games, so if you can't watch, you can check out the tweets and see what's going on there. Check out the articles. They're always writing something, doing something. Matt's doing some stats on something. And we'll be back here next Wednesday, same time. And if you're a member of the Patreon, you get the episode early. So you'll get it later tonight on Wednesday. And if not, you will get the episode on Thursday around noon Eastern time. But we appreciate your support. So as always, guys, go Tops.
Go Tops.
Thanks, Jared. Have a good one, bud.